This article summarizes the different branches and schools in Islam. The best-known split into Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, and Kharijites was mainly political when it occurred in the early Islamic era, but it eventually acquired theological and juridical dimensions. There are three traditional types of schools in Islam: schools of jurisprudence, Sufi orders, and schools of theology. The article also summarizes major denominations and movements that have arisen in the modern era. Overview. The first centuries of Islam gave rise to three major sects: Sunnis, Shias, and Kharijites. Each sect developed distinct jurisprudence schools reflecting different methodologies of jurisprudence. The major Sunni madhabs are Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali. The major Shia branches are Twelver, Ismaili and Zaydi. Ismailism later split into an Izari Ismaili and Mustali Ismaili, and then Mustali was divided into Hafizi and Tayyabi Ismaili. It also gave rise to the Karmatian movement and the Druze faith. Twelver Shiism developed Jafari jurisprudence, whose branches are Akbarism and Usulism, and other movements such as Alawites, Shaykhism, and Alevism. Similarly, Kharijites were initially divided into five major branches: Sufis, Hazarika, Najdat, Ajarites, and Abadis. Among these numerous branches, only Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali, Imami, Jafari, Usuli, Nazari, Ismaili, Alevi, Zaydi, Abadi, Zahiri, Alawite, Druze, and Tayyabi communities have survived. In addition, new schools of thought and movements like Quranist Muslims, Ahmadi Muslims, and African American Muslims later emerged independently. Main traditional branches: Sunni Islam. Sunni Muslims are the largest denomination of Islam and are known as Ahl as-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, or simply as Ahl as-Sunnah. The word Sunni comes from the word Sunnah, which means the teachings and actions or examples of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Therefore, the term Sunni refers to those who follow or maintain the Sunnah of Muhammad. In many countries, overwhelming majorities of Muslims are Sunnis, so that they simply refer to themselves as Muslims and do not use the Sunni label. The Sunnis believe that Muhammad did not specifically appoint a successor to lead the Muslim Ummah before his death, and after an initial period of confusion, a group of his most prominent companions gathered and elected Abu Bakr Siddiq, Muhammad's close friend and a father-in-law, as the first caliph of Islam. Sunni Muslims regard the first four caliphs as al-Khulafa Rashidun, or the rightly guided caliphs. Sunnis also believe that the position of caliph may be attained democratically on gaining a majority of the votes, but after the Rashidun, the position turned into a hereditary dynastic rule because of the divisions started by the Umayyads and others. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire in 1923, there has never been another caliph as widely recognized in the Muslim world. Shia Islam. Shia Islam is the second largest denomination of Islam, comprising 10 to 13% of the total Muslim population in the world. Shia Muslims, though a minority in the Muslim world, constitute the majority of the populations in Iran and Iraq, as well as a plurality in Lebanon. In addition to believing in the authority of the Quran and teachings of Muhammad, Shia believe that Muhammad's family, the Ahl al-Bayt, including his descendants known as Imams, have special spiritual and political authority over the community, and believe that Ali ibn Abi Talib, Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, was the first of these Imams and was the rightful successor to Muhammad, and thus reject the legitimacy of the first three Rashidun caliphs. The Shia Islamic faith is broad and includes many different groups. There are various Shia theological beliefs, schools of jurisprudence, philosophical beliefs, and spiritual movements. The Shia identity emerged soon after the martyrdom of Hussein, son of Ali, and Shia theology developed as a result of a shift from the political to the ideological in 2nd century Shiism, and the first Shia governments and societies were established by the end of the 9th century. Major sub-denominations: the Twelvers believe in 12 imams. The Alawites are a sub-denomination of this sect. Ismailism, including the Nizari, Savana, Mustali, Dawudi Bora, Hebtaz Bora, Sulaimani Bora, and Alavi Bora sub-denominations. The Druze are a distinct traditional religion that developed in the 11th century. The Zaydiyya historically come from the followers of Zayd ibn Ali. Gulit movements in history: Muslim groups who either ascribe divine characteristics to some figures of Islamic history, or hold beliefs deemed deviant by mainstream Shia theology were called as Gulit. Kharijite Islam: Kharijite is a general term embracing a variety of Muslim sects which, while originally supporting the caliphate of Ali, later on fought against him and eventually succeeded in his martyrdom while he was praying in the Mosque of Kufa. While there are few remaining Kharijite-related groups, the term is sometimes used to denote Muslims who refuse to compromise with those with whom they disagree. The major Kharijite subsect today is the Abadi. The sect developed out of the 7th century Islamic sect of the Kharijites. While Abadi Muslims maintain most of the beliefs of the original Kharijites, they have rejected the more aggressive methods. A number of Kharijite groups went extinct in the past. Sufis were a sect of Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries, and a part of the Kharijites. Their most important branches were the Qariya Nakari. Haruris were an early Muslim sect from the period of the 4 rightly guided caliphs, named for the first leader, Habib ibn Yazid al-Haruri. Azarika, Najdid, Ajarites. Sufi orders. Sufism is Islam's mystical ascetic dimension and is represented by schools or orders known as Tas or Wufiarika. It is seen as that aspect of Islamic teaching that deals with the purification of inner self, by focusing on the more spiritual aspects of religion. Sufis strive to obtain direct experience of God by making use of intuitive and emotional faculties that one must be trained to use. The following list contains some notable Sufi orders. The Bektashi order was founded in the 13th century by the Islamic Saint Haji Bektash Vali, and greatly influenced during its formulative period by the Harifi Ali al-Ala in the 15th century and reorganized by Balam Sultan in the 16th century. Because of its adherence to the 12 Imams, it is classified under 12 Shia Islam. The Chishti order was founded by Abu Ishaq Shami, who brought Sufism to the town of Chisht, some 95 miles east of Herat in present-day Afghanistan. Before returning to the Levant, Shami initiated, trained and deputized the son of the local emir Abu Ahmad Abdal. Under the leadership of Abu Ahmad's descendants, the Chishti, as they are also known, flourished as a regional mystical order. The founder of the Chishti order in South Asia was Moinuddin Chishti. The Kediri order was founded in the 13th century by Najmuddin Kubra in Bukhara in modern-day Uzbekistan. The Mevlevi Order is better known in the West as the Whirling Dervishes. Mouride is most prominent in Senegal and the Gambia, with headquarters in the holy city of Touba, Senegal. The Naqshbandi Order was founded in 1380 by Baha'u'ddin Naqshband Bukhari. It is considered by some to be a sober order known for its silent dhikr rather than the vocalized forms of dhikr common in other orders. The Sulaimani and Khalidia orders are offshoots of the Naqshbandi order. The Naqshbandi Order is the most widespread Sufi order of Persia today. It was founded by Shah Wali, established and transformed from his inheritance of the Marufia circle. There are several sub-orders in existence today, the most known and influential in the West following the lineage of Javad Norbeck, who brought the order to the West following the 1979 Iranian Revolution. The Norbeck Shia Order, also called Norbeck Shia, claims to trace its direct spiritual lineage and chain to the Islamic prophet Muhammad, through Ali, by way of Ali al-Rida. This order became known as Norbeck Shia after Shah Sayyid Muhammad Norbeck Kharistani, who was aligned to the Kediri Order. The OVC order claims to have been founded 1,400 years ago by Uwais al-Khani from Yemen. The Kediri Order is one of the oldest Sufi orders. It derives its name from Abdul Qadir Gilani, a native of the Iranian province of Gilan. The order is one of the most widespread of the Sufi orders in the Islamic world, and can be found in Central Asia, Turkey, Balkans and much of East and West Africa. The Kediri have not developed any distinctive doctrines or teachings outside of mainstream Islam. They believe in the fundamental principles of Islam, but interpreted through mystical experience. The Mevlevi Order is an offshoot of Kediri. Senussi is a religious political Sufi order established by Muhammad ibn Ali as Senussi. As Senussi founded this movement due to his criticism of the Egyptian ulama. The Shadili order was founded by Abu al-Hasan ash-Shadili. Followers of the Shadili are often known as Shadilis. The Suhrawardi order is a Sufi order founded by Abu al-Najib al-Suhrawardi. The Tijani order attach a large importance to culture and education, and emphasize the individual adhesion of the disciple. Schools of jurisprudence. Islamic schools of jurisprudence, known as madhabs, differ in the methodology they use to derive the rulings from the Quran and Hadith. Sunni in terms of religious jurisprudence, Sunnism contains several schools of thought such as the Hanafi school, founded by Abu Hanifa and Newman, including subgroups like Barelvis and Deobandi. The Maliki school, founded by Malik ibn Anas. The Shafi'i school, founded by Muhammad ibn Idris ash-Shafi'i. The Hanbali school, founded by Ahmad ibn Hanbal. The majority of the Salafist movement claims to follow this school. The Ahiri school, founded by Dawood al-Zahiri. Shia. The major Shia school of jurisprudence is the Jafari or Imami school. It is further divided into two branches, the Usuli school, which favors the exercise of ijtihad, and the Akbari school, which holds the traditions of the Imams to be the main source of religious knowledge. Minor schools include the Ismaili school, and the Zaydi school, which have closer affinity to Sunni jurisprudence. Abadi. The fiqh jurisprudence of Abadis is relatively simple. Absolute authority is given to the Quran and Hadith. New innovations accepted on the basis of qiyas, or analogical reasoning, were rejected as bid'ah by the Abadis. That differs from the majority of Sunnis but agrees with most Shiites and the Zahiri and early Hanbali schools of Sunnism. Schools of Islamic theology. Aqidah is an Islamic term meaning creed, doctrine, or article of faith. There have existed many schools of Islamic theology, not all of which survive to the present day. Major themes of theological controversies in Islam have included predestination and free will, the nature of the Quran, the nature of the divine attributes, apparent and esoteric meaning of Scripture, and the role of dialectical reasoning in the Islamic doctrine. Kalam is the Islamic philosophy of seeking theological principles through dialectic. In Arabic, the word literally means speech, words. A scholar of kalam is referred to as a mutakallim. There are many schools of kalam, the main ones being the Ash'ari and Maturidi schools in Sunni Islam. Ash'arism is a school of theology founded in the 10th century by Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. The Ash'arite view was that comprehension of the unique nature and characteristics of God were beyond human capability. Maturidism is a school of theology founded by Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, which is a close variant of the Ash'ari school. Points which differ are the nature of belief and the place of human reason. The Maturidists state that belief does not increase nor decrease but remains static. It is piety which increases and decreases. The Ash'arists say that belief does in fact increase and decrease. The Maturidists say that the unaided human mind is able to find out that some of the more major sins such as alcohol or murder are evil without the help of revelation. The Ash'arists say that the unaided human mind is unable to know if something is good or evil, lawful or unlawful, without divine revelation. Traditionalist theology. Traditionalist theology, sometimes referred to as the Athari school, derives its name from the word tradition, as a translation of the Arabic word hadith from the Arabic word athar, meaning narrations. The traditionalist creed is to avoid delving into extensive theological speculation. They rely on the Quran, the Sunnah, and sayings of the Sahaba, seeing this as the middle path where the attributes of Allah are accepted without questioning the nature. Ahmad bin Hanbal is regarded as the leader of the traditionalist school of creed. The term Athari has been historically synonymous with Salafi. The central aspect of traditionalist theology is its definition of tawhid, meaning literally unification or asserting the oneness of Allah. Murji'a was a name for an early politico-religious movement which came to refer to all those who identified faith with belief to the exclusion of acts. Qadariya is an originally derogatory term designating early Islamic theologians who asserted that humans possess free will, whose exercise makes them responsible for their actions, justifying divine punishment and absolving God of responsibility for evil in the world. Some of their doctrines were later adopted by the Mu'tazilis and rejected by the Ash'aris. Mu'tazili theology originated in the 8th century in al-Basra when Wasil ibn Ata left the teaching lessons of Hassan al-Basri after a theological dispute. He and his followers expanded on the logic and rationalism of Greek philosophy, seeking to combine them with Islamic doctrines and show that the two were inherently compatible. The Mu'tazili debated philosophical questions such as whether the Quran was created or eternal, whether evil was created by God, the issue of predestination versus free will, whether God's attributes in the Quran were to be interpreted allegorically or literally, and whether sinning believers would have eternal punishment in hell. Jamis were the alleged followers of the early Islamic theologian Jam bin Safwan, who associate himself with al-Harith ibn Shurayj. He was an exponent of extreme determinism according to which a man acts only metaphorically in the same way in which the sun acts as something when it sets. Batiniya. The Batiniya is a name given to an allegoristic type of scriptural interpretation developed among some Shia groups, stressing the batin meaning of texts. It has been retained by all branches of Ishmaelism and its Druze offshoots. The Alawites practice a similar system of interpretation.